It started with snow, then turned to ice and rain, and the end result is one messy Wednesday. And it doesn't seem to be getting nicer anytime soon. Let's get right to 69 News meteorologist Matt Broderick, who's standing by in the Weather Center. How are things looking out there now, Matt?
Well, you're right, Jaciel. They're not getting any better, that's for sure. We are going to be dealing with this rain right through most of the afternoon before it starts to taper off. The good news is most of it is just plain rain as we are above that freezing mark, but there are still just a couple of spots that are below that, obviously. One place would be Schuylkill County. The ice storm warning, which was in effect until noon, has just been extended until 3 o'clock this afternoon from the National Weather Service. Again, we have seen these temperatures, Pottsville, for instance, never get above 32 degrees. 31 was the highest I've seen all morning long. So that's the biggest concern. The rest of us here, there's a flood watch in effect, except for Carbon Monroe Pike, but the rest of us have a flood watch. And this light green, these are flood warnings, which is basically every county practically in the viewing area. Berks, Lehigh, Northampton, Warren, Sussex, Hunterdon, Bucks, Chester, Delaware, Philadelphia, Mercer. These are all flood warnings. What this basically means is we've seen enough rain to cause either some poor drainage flooding, some roads to be closed or impassable or covered with water, and that's clearly an issue. You never want to cross a road if you come to it that's covered in water, simply because you don't know how deep it is, and that is a very dangerous situation. So that's what we've seen. Some roads are closed. We've seen poor drainage flooding, streams and creeks, that kind of thing, starting to get to their banks here, and they could overflow, at least in some areas. So that's why we have the flood warnings in effect, and that's mainly right through part of the afternoon hours. Temperatures, again, a couple of degrees above freezing, except for Pottsville, where we're still sitting at 30 degrees below freezing, and the ice continues. Major ice buildup continues into parts of Schuylkill County. One check of the radar, here it all comes again. It is starting to lighten up here back to our south, but notice we still have some dark greens across parts of New Jersey in the northern sections. Things should lighten up at least at times through the afternoon, but we will be dealing with the rain for the rest of the afternoon until things can quiet down a little bit later today. Full forecast, including your 6-day, which does include a possible storm over the weekend. That'll be just in a few more minutes. For now, let's send things back over to Jaciel.
Thank you, Matt. The storm made for a messy commute this morning across the Lehigh Valley. We continue our storm coverage with WFMZ's Jaccii Farris, who's live near I-78 westbound. She's waving in Easton with a look at current road conditions. Jaccii?
Well, Jaciel, I can tell you for the most part, things are pretty wet, but we've been traveling all over the Lehigh Valley, and we've seen some slushy and some slick spots, but drivers are doing their best. The winter storm didn't slow the pace on I-78 too much. On the stretch in between Allentown and Easton, traffic is moving smoothly east and westbound. 78 is clear, but drivers have to deal with the occasional patch of slush splashed on their windshield. Over in Easton, the drive is much different, with road closures at Lehigh Drive, Washington Street leading up the hill to the courthouse, and 611 between Cedarville Drive and 3rd Streets. 611 in Lower Bethel Township is also slushy and slick. Drivers who slowed their pace were able to catch glimpses of the Delaware River, filled with rainfall and ice chunks. Now, we are on the on-ramp of I-78 west from Easton headed toward Allentown. You can see I-78, traffic is moving smoothly. The roads are really wet. But if you take a closer look, you can see as the cars go by, there's like a ripple of water. And once that water and slush starts to freeze and the temperatures go down, it's going to cause another problem, another headache for drivers. So the tip of the day is if you don't have to go outside or drive, stay home and stay safe. But if you do have some business you need to attend to, you want to make sure that you drive carefully and plan ahead, because there is a lot of moisture on the roads, and when the temperatures drop, the risk of hazardous driving goes up. We'll have more for you coming up tonight on 69 News at 5. Live in Easton, Jaccii Farris, 69 News.
Thank you, Jaccii. And the freezing rain wasn't the only problem greeting commuters this morning. Flooding was also making a mess of the roads. This is what MacArthur Road in Whitehall Township, Lehigh County, looked like this morning. The rain melted some of the snow, filling the roadway with water and slush. You can see the cars causing waves as they forge ahead through the water. The water is making it hard for PennDot to treat the roadways. They expect freezing to be a big problem this evening. PennDot wants to remind drivers to avoid standing water on roadways because it may be deeper than it looks. And PennDot spokesman Ron Young is live on the phone to let us know how the road conditions are looking right now. Ron, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, Jaciel.
With the amount of water seen on the roadways, what are you having to do differently to get them clear?
Well, our crews are going around the region today and checking all the drainage inlets and trying to unclog any inlets that are clogged to help prevent water from flooding on the roadways. We do have a few roads in Northampton County that are closed due to flooding, and we are reminding motorists, as you said, to please not try to drive through any closed roads or any ponding water on the roads.
Now, are you anticipating any freezing conditions into the overnight and tomorrow morning that might change how you do things?
Our latest weather reports show that there is freezing tonight. It'll be below freezing, so we want to remind motorists that they need to be extra careful tonight. We're going to keep full crews out salting the regional roads, but motorists need to leave extra time for their commute and go a little slower and leave plenty of room between their vehicle and the vehicles around them.
And do you have any suggestions for drivers when heading out on the roads this afternoon?
Well, this afternoon they need to be aware of possible icy spots on elevated roads and bridges, and also possible fog and flooding. So they need to be extra cautious, extra alert. It's not just winter weather. It's also you're getting some flooding and you're getting some fog out there. So it's going to be a little treacherous for people. We want them to be very careful and very cautious.
Okay. Ron Young, PennDot, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
The heavy ice, rain, and snow coming along with this storm are causing problems with power outages. PPL and Met-Ed customers are going without power today. Met-Ed reports more than 5,000 customers are without power in Berks County, and more than 500 customers in the Lehigh Valley are affected. Most of those without power are in the Easton area. PPL customers are also dealing with outages. The power company says more than 4,700 customers are out in Lehigh County and nearly 700 in Northampton County. PPL says there are more than 3,000 customers experiencing outages in Berks County. As drivers hit the roads this morning, some may be thinking deja vu. Today's winter mess comes nearly 1 year to the day of the Valentine's Day ice storm that literally brought traffic to a standstill on I-78. That ice and snowstorm stranded motorists on the highway in Berks and Lehigh counties for hours. Luckily this year, it seems road crews were prepared and we saw no major road problems.